But surely, I hear you ask, it is the duty of all the media, and in particular the ABC, who have a charter telling them to do it, to have an open mind. That's what I grew up to believe, but apparently not. Despite the ABC's charter, which by law demands that they be unbiased and have an open mind, having an open mind is something, according to them, to be mocked and ridiculed.
As to whether it is human-induced climate change is... Thank you. As to whether it is human-induced climate change, my mind is open. But this is... This is not the key question. The key question is, what are you going to do about it?
I'm sorry, Senator, but that was my question.
Yeah.
Is what you think is causing it. Why is your mind open?
Why is your mind open? Asks the new host of the shockingly left-wing Q&A. Well, I would have thought that the answer is obvious, because if your mind isn't open, then it is closed. And history has taught us time and time again that closed minds lead to tyranny, poverty and totalitarianism, also known as socialism. History has also taught us that liberty and freedom and true democracy require, above all, healthy, inquiring, sceptical minds that aren't afraid to challenge the all-pervading and stifling orthodoxies of the day. That a Q&A audience on the outskirts of Canberra, no surprise, could laugh and sneer to a man and a woman at a great Australian like Jim Molan simply for him honestly expressing his own doubts about the greenhouse theory of man-made global warming is deeply, deeply disturbing. In fact, the mockery of Molan on Q&A by the crowd almost had me longing for the compassion, the tolerance and the open minds of this crowd.
He is a deadly sin, Mary! Oh, this is the black dog to change your shape! Abby, I can hear you! Oh, no, Mary, don't come down! I'm not hurting her!
Why does she see you up there?
She sees nothing! She sees nothing!
Have you compacted with the devil?
Never!
How long before that's what a Q&A audience looks and sounds like, or does it already? But on a lighter note, my thanks as always to our advertising guru, Paul Barry, on Media Watch this week for yet again running a brilliant promo for Sky News and, of course, The Outsiders, his favourite program. Bushfires, unprecedented drought. No, this Australian summer has been the summer of unprecedented stupidity. Never before have we had to suffer such idiocy in public debate and political commentary nationally and internationally in relation to two of the most common and predictable occurrences in Australia's climate cycle, drought and bushfires.
Hello, I'm Paul Barry. Welcome to Media Watch. And welcome to Groundhog Day, where the loudest voices at News Corp are adamant that the summer's terrifying bushfires have nothing to do with climate change.
Loudmouths, that's us. Catchy. It's just a shame that Mr. Barry, who accused me of denying any link between climate change and bushfires, slap wrist, didn't actually listen to what I said. Let's start with the unprecedented stupidity of blaming Scott Morrison for the fires, as the lefties with their disgusting Twitter hashtags like #TheMorrisonFires have done. Australia accounts for only 1.3% of the global emissions supposedly responsible for the increase in intensity of these fires. By definition, our actions here in Australia, whether we like it or not, can only ever account for 1.3% of any increase in the intensity of the bushfires. And that, of course, is the point that Jim Molan and many others have tried to make, even Scott Morrison. As the Prime Minister has said, even if you believe in global warming, it is a cumulative global problem that most of the heavy emitters on the planet have simply ignored, China, India and so on, who increase their emissions. The truth is, regardless of whether that greenhouse effect is real or not, if we are serious about protecting our communities from future bushfires, we need to take practical measures to dramatically reduce fuel loads. Cutting emissions will do little, if anything, as even Labor knows but struggles to admit.
Can Australia's emissions reductions policies reduce the bushfire risk in Australia?
Well, I think that, Chris, the responsible thing to do...
Well, I think, Chris, I don't know what to say because my talking points from Labor don't tell me what to say, but the reality... 5 times, Chris Kenny on Sky asked Matt Thistlethwaite whether Labor's climate policies would reduce the risk of future bushfires, and 5 times he waffled and stuttered and obfuscated. Of course, we're always told, who are you to ask questions? Just listen to what the official experts all say. But because I have an open mind, shock horror, I like to listen to all points of view. And I hear statements like this. The very same carbon emissions responsible for harmful changes to climate are also fertilising plant growth, which in turn is somewhat moderating global warming, says study co-author Dr. Jarl Bjerke of the Norwegian Institute of Nature Research. These are the experts. Or how about this one? On December 11th last year, the Australian Bureau of Meteorology, the experts told us that there would be no significant rainfall in New South Wales, Queensland or Victoria until April or May at the earliest. We're only in the first week of February and it's bucketing down. Byron Bay has had the biggest rainfall in 50 years. But
even the rain that falls isn't actually going to fill our dams and our rivers.
So here's a thought. If Scott Morrison was responsible for the bushfires, is he also responsible for this biblical downpour? Give me an open mind any day over a closed and foolish one.